There is only one mindset that separates the wealthy from the struggling. One mindset that determines whether life is lived in limitation or in abundance. This mindset is not reserved for a chosen few. It is not locked away in secret books. It is not hidden behind impossible barriers. It is accessible to anyone willing to adopt it, to anyone willing to shift their perspective, to anyone bold enough to declare that wealth is not a dream, it is a destiny. The truth is simple. Wealth is not a matter of chance. It is not an accident that falls upon some and avoids others. Wealth is not a lottery ticket that only the fortunate hold. Wealth is a deliberate creation, an intentional result, born from the power of a mind that refuses to accept scarcity as reality. It is the natural consequence of a mindset so strong, so focused, so certain, that the universe itself bends to its will. Look closely at the lives of those who possess wealth, and you will see one common thread running through them all, a refusal to accept limitation. They may come from different backgrounds, different cultures, different levels of education, but they share this one unshakable foundation, a belief that wealth belongs to them, that abundance is available to them, that prosperity is not something distant, but something they can claim here and now. This mindset does not ask permission. It does not wait for validation. It does not look for guarantees before taking action. It decides. It claims. It declares. And in that decision, in that declaration, it opens doors that remain closed to everyone else. Wealth does not chase hesitation. It answers to conviction. The moment the mind accepts wealth as inevitable, the path to riches begins to form. Opportunities appear, connections align, circumstances shift. What was once invisible becomes visible. What was once impossible becomes attainable. The struggling mind waits for proof before it believes. The wealthy mind believes first, and proof follows. This is the difference. Most people wait for signs, for security, for some external signal that they are allowed to succeed. But the wealthy mindset does not wait for signs, it becomes the sign. It does not beg for opportunities, it creates them. It does not look for reasons why it cannot be done, it builds reasons why it must be done. Wealth is not just about money. Money is only the shadow of a greater truth. Wealth is about power, the power to choose, the power to create, the power to live life without chains. And that power begins in the mind. A poor mind can hold a rich bank account temporarily, but it will lose it because without the right mindset, wealth slips through the fingers like sand. But a wealthy mind, even when stripped of resources, will rebuild fortune again and again because the foundation is unshakable. Think of this truth. The difference is not in the resources one has, but in the resourcefulness one commands. A mind of abundance can turn nothing into something, while a mind of scarcity can turn something into nothing. That is the undeniable law of mindset. Wealth does not respond to fear, doubt, or weakness. It responds only to strength, belief, and certainty. The only mindset you need to attract wealth is a mindset that operates on the assumption of abundance. A mindset that no longer entertains thoughts of lack, that no longer surrenders to excuses, that no longer allows fear to dictate choices. A mindset that sees opportunity where others see obstacles. A mindset that expects success where others expect failure. A mindset that calls forth prosperity as naturally as breathing. The wealthy are not different because of what they have. They are different because of how they think. They operate from a higher level of mental discipline. They do not allow circumstances to define them. They define their circumstances. They do not allow setbacks to stop them. They turn setbacks into stepping stones. They do not allow doubt to poison them. They strengthen belief until belief becomes certainty. The only mindset you need is one of unshakable ownership. Ownership of your thoughts, ownership of your future, ownership of the results that will unfold in your life. The wealthy know this. If you do not command your mind, the world will command it for you. If you do not choose to believe in abundance, the world will feed you scarcity. If you do not claim wealth as your right, you will live forever as though it belongs to someone else. Wealth begins not with money in the hand, but with conviction in the mind. Conviction that no matter what stands in the way, prosperity can be built. Conviction that no matter what the past looks like, the future can be rewritten. Conviction that no matter how long it takes, wealth is inevitable. Once the mind holds this truth, the body will act, the actions will compound, and results will follow. Understand this, there is only one mindset you need to attract wealth. The mindset that wealth is not optional, it is certain. The mindset that abundance is not rare, it is everywhere. The mindset that success is not reserved for others, it is already waiting for you. Decide to claim it, and the gates of wealth will open wide. The only mindset you need is one of ownership. Ownership is the foundation of wealth, the dividing line between those who create and those who complain. Without ownership, the mind drifts, the will weakens, and life becomes a reaction to whatever happens. With ownership, everything changes. The wealthy rise above excuses because they understand that true power begins the moment one takes full responsibility for every thought, every action, every result. Ownership means refusing to surrender control to circumstances. It is the recognition that nothing in life is owed, nothing is guaranteed, and nothing changes until you claim authority over it. Those who live in scarcity surrender their power to the economy, to politics, to chance, to the opinions of others. They hand over their future like a pawn on a board, waiting to be moved by forces outside themselves. But those who operate with the mindset of wealth seize their role as the master player. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect. They make the conditions serve them. Ownership is rejecting victimhood. It is the awareness that even if the past was unfair, even if obstacles are real, the responsibility to rise still belongs to you. The wealthy know that no one is coming to save them. They know that waiting for rescue is a trap and that excuses are the language of the powerless. Every moment spent blaming circumstances is a moment wasted, a moment that could have been used to build, to grow, to create. Ownership is the refusal to let failure define you. When losses come, ownership asks, what can I learn? How can I use this? How do I grow stronger because of it? Scarcity minds see failure as proof they should stop. Wealth minds see failure as proof they are learning. One accepts defeat, the other turns defeat into momentum. Those who embrace ownership see the world differently. When opportunities arise, they do not ask, will this work for me? They ask, how will I make this work? When challenges come, they do not shrink back. They declare, this will not break me. This will build me. Ownership transforms obstacles into tools, setbacks into lessons, difficulties into raw material for success. Ownership also means commanding your inner world. Wealth does not flow to those who let their emotions, fears, and impulses control them. It flows to those who discipline their minds, who take ownership of their thoughts, who redirect negativity into power. A wealthy mindset does not indulge in self-pity, jealousy, or doubt. It replaces those patterns with focus, faith, and action. Every great fortune is a reflection of ownership. Wealth is not built on luck, it is built on decisions. Decisions to act when others wait. Decisions to persist when others quit. Decisions to adapt when others resist change. Each decision compounds, and over time, those who own their choices find themselves standing in a life they designed, while those who avoided responsibility are trapped in a life they never wanted. Ownership means living by the truth that nothing is outside your control until you decide it is. You may not control every event, but you always control the response. You may not control the economy, but you control how you position yourself in it. You may not control setbacks, but you control how you rise from them. That difference, that control, that power, this is what builds wealth. Scarcity minds believe life is happening to them. Wealth minds believe life is happening for them. Scarcity minds wait for someone else to change their destiny. Wealth minds know destiny bends to those who command it. This is ownership, the core of the only mindset you need. The wealthy live with this unshakable principle. If something in life is broken, they will fix it. If something is missing, they will create it. If something is failing, they will rebuild it. They refuse to wait. They refuse to depend. They refuse to be at the mercy of chance. And because of this, they attract wealth not as a gift, but as a consequence of their own ownership. Understand this, ownership is freedom. Ownership is power. Ownership is wealth in its purest form. The moment you accept ownership over your future, you cut the chains of limitation. The moment you declare, it is my responsibility, it is my decision, it is my destiny, the world begins to respond. Wealth does not belong to the hesitant. It belongs to those who stand tall, claim authority over their lives, and never surrender that authority to anything or anyone. The mindset of wealth does not complain, it creates. This is the law of abundance. Complaints are signals of weakness, but creation is the language of strength. Complaining fixes nothing. Complaining builds nothing. Complaining attracts nothing. It drains energy. It feeds scarcity. It cements the belief that life is unfair and that nothing can change. But creation is power. Creation turns thought into reality, turns vision into form, turns ideas into wealth. When the mind is set on complaint, it focuses on what is missing. It magnifies problems, amplifies obstacles, and rehearses every reason why success feels out of reach. That is the mindset of poverty. But when the mind shifts to creation, it asks different questions. What can I do right now? What can I build from what I already have? What can I make that adds value to the world? These questions transform lack into opportunity, and from opportunity comes wealth. The wealthy understand this at the deepest level. They do not waste time rehearsing limitations. They do not dwell on what went wrong or what should have been different. Instead, they redirect energy into action. Where others see walls, they see doors waiting to be built. Where others see closed paths, they see new roads waiting to be paved. Creation is their default setting. This mindset is not about pretending challenges do not exist. It is about refusing to give them power through complaint. Every obstacle is acknowledged, but instead of surrendering to it, the wealthy mind transforms it. A broken system becomes a business opportunity. A personal weakness becomes a skill to master. A temporary failure becomes a lesson that sharpens strategy. Creation thrives where complaint would have suffocated progress. Scarcity is born from obsession with problems. Wealth is born from obsession with solutions. When people complain, they repeat the same story, reinforcing helplessness. But when people create, they write a new story, one that evolves with every step forward. The wealthy know that life bends to creators, not complainers. Every invention, every enterprise, every fortune was built by those who chose creation over complaint. The discipline of creation requires focus. Complaining is easy. It demands nothing but words. But creation requires effort, vision, and persistence. Complaining makes you feel momentarily justified, while creation makes you permanently powerful. This is why the wealthy live in creation. They know that the energy spent complaining could have been invested in building something extraordinary. The wealth mindset treats setbacks not as tragedies, but as tools. Where others waste time speaking about what they lost, the wealthy focus on what they can gain next. Complaining looks backward, creation looks forward. Complaining recycles pain, creation produces progress. Complaining clings to scarcity, creation opens the floodgates of abundance. Understand this, complaining attracts complainers, but creation attracts wealth. People who dwell in negativity gather with others who do the same, feeding each other's weakness, deepening their chains. But creators attract opportunities, investors, allies, and visionaries. Creation is magnetic. It pulls resources, people, and circumstances toward it because creation itself is value. Creation is also resilience in action. It is the choice to build again when something collapses. It is the choice to design again when a plan fails. It is the choice to innovate when an idea seems impossible. Complaining accepts defeat. Creation guarantees rebirth. Every empire, every breakthrough, every legacy was once a response to failure, but not through complaint, through creation. The wealthy mind knows that every problem contains within it the seed of wealth. Complaining waters the problem until it grows larger. Creation waters the solution until it blossoms into fortune. Those who master this truth live in abundance, while those who ignore it remain trapped in cycles of lack. The question is never, why me? The question is always, what now? The wealthy never waste time asking why life is unfair. They know life bends to those who create. They ask, what can I make from this? How can I turn this setback into strength? How can I transform this challenge into a channel for wealth? That shift in mindset changes everything. Creation is responsibility. Creation is power. Creation is freedom. Every step taken in creation pulls you closer to wealth, while every moment spent in complaint pushes it further away. The wealthy do not complain because they know every complaint steals their energy. They create because they know every creation compounds into more abundance. This is the choice. Stay trapped in complaint or rise into creation. One keeps you powerless, The other makes you unstoppable. One locks you in scarcity. The other unlocks wealth. The wealthy choose creation always because they know it is the only path that leads forward. Wealth is not something you chase. It is something you attract. The more desperately people run after money, the further it seems to move away from them. Chasing creates an energy of lack, a signal to the world that you do not have enough, that you are incomplete, that you are begging for what should already belong to you. But attraction is different. Attraction radiates power. It pulls wealth toward you effortlessly because it flows from a state of certainty, from the conviction that abundance is your natural state. When the mind vibrates with confidence, money is drawn in. When thoughts align with abundance, opportunities appear. When actions radiate conviction, doors open that remain closed to others. Wealth cannot resist the pull of a person who is certain of their own value, who operates not in fear but in faith, not in desperation but in determination. Those who chase wealth often burn out because chasing drains energy. It creates a cycle of endless pursuit where money is always ahead but never within reach. But those who attract wealth understand that prosperity responds to alignment, not desperation. It flows to those who become the kind of person who naturally magnetizes success. It flows to those who embody abundance in thought, word, and deed. Attraction does not mean passivity. It does not mean sitting still and waiting for riches to fall into your lap. It means building yourself into a vessel worthy of wealth. It means sharpening skills, expanding vision, and acting with purpose. Attraction is the art of positioning yourself so powerfully that money, opportunities, and influence are drawn to you without resistance. Think of it this way. Chasing declares weakness. Attraction declares strength. Chasing says, I need wealth to complete me. Attraction says, wealth is incomplete without me. Chasing lowers your energy while attraction elevates it. Chasing focuses on scarcity while attraction radiates abundance. This is why the wealthy never appear desperate for money. Their energy is different. They know who they are, they know the value they bring, and because of that, wealth gravitates toward them. Investors trust them, opportunities seek them, resources flow to them. It is not because they are lucky, it is because their mindset makes them magnetic. Wealth responds to certainty. Doubt repels it. When you doubt your worth, when you doubt your ability, when you doubt your future, you are unconsciously pushing money away. But when you stand in absolute certainty, when you know that you are worthy, when you know that you bring value, when you know that success is inevitable, wealth has no choice but to move in your direction. Attraction also requires alignment with value. Money is not random. It flows to those who create and circulate value. When you align your mindset with contribution, with solving problems, with elevating others, you become a natural magnet for prosperity. People pay for solutions, not complaints. They invest in creators, not complainers. The wealth you attract is always in proportion to the value you give. The scarcity mindset chases because it believes there is not enough. It grasps at every dollar, fears every loss, clings to money as if it might vanish forever. But the abundance mindset attracts because it knows money is infinite. It knows there are endless opportunities, endless connections, endless resources. Attraction operates from trust. Trust in one's vision, trust in one's ability, trust in the flow of abundance. Attraction also demands self-belief. Wealth does not respond to hesitation. It responds to those who walk with authority, who act with conviction, who believe without apology that prosperity belongs to them. When you step into that belief fully, others feel it. They sense your certainty and they respond to it. Clients appear, partnerships form, doors swing open. What once felt out of reach becomes inevitable. Understand this, wealth is not outside of you, running away while you chase it. Wealth is waiting to be drawn in by the strength of your energy, the clarity of your vision, the power of your mindset. The only question is whether you will continue chasing it in weakness or whether you will step into the strength of attraction. The wealthy attract because they embody abundance. They think abundantly, they act abundantly, they live abundantly. They do not wait for wealth to change their mindset. They change their mindset and wealth follows. That is the secret. That is the difference. That is why they live in prosperity while others spend their lives chasing shadows. You do not need to chase wealth. You need to become wealth in mind, in spirit, in action. You need to radiate abundance so powerfully that the world cannot help but respond. When you stop chasing and start attracting, you step into alignment with the natural flow of prosperity. And once you align with that flow, wealth is not something you pursue, it is something that pursues you. The wealth mindset understands a profound truth. Money is not scarce. Scarcity is nothing more than a story, a lie told by fear, a limitation whispered into the mind by doubt. The world is overflowing with opportunity. The earth itself produces more resources every single day than one could ever consume in a lifetime. Human creativity, innovation, and imagination are limitless. Yet most people blind themselves to this reality by choosing to focus on what they lack. Scarcity is a prison built inside the mind. It convinces people that there is not enough to go around, that success is reserved for a chosen few, that wealth is a closed circle, and that they are forever locked outside. But abundance reveals the truth. Wealth is infinite, opportunities are everywhere, and value can always be created. The wealthy see this, while the poor mindset refuses to. The illusion of scarcity comes from fear. Fear of losing, fear of failing, fear of never having enough. This fear keeps people clinging to what little they have instead of reaching for more. It keeps them competing for scraps instead of creating new streams of prosperity. It convinces them that every gain must come at someone else's loss, when in reality, true wealth multiplies. It expands the more it is created. It grows the more it circulates. Look at history, and you will see that abundance is the natural law of life. Every age has produced new industries, new technologies, new ideas that created fortunes where none existed before. Oil, electricity, automobiles, computers, the internet, each of these innovations generated unimaginable wealth that did not exist a generation earlier. None of it was taken from others. It was created. Wealth is not a fixed pie. The more you create, the larger the pie becomes, and the more there is for all who are willing to see abundance instead of scarcity. The wealthy train their minds to seek expansion, not restriction. Where others say, there isn't enough, they say, how can I create more? Where others see competition, they see collaboration. Where others focus on limitations, they focus on possibilities. This is why opportunities seem to flow endlessly to them. It is not because opportunities avoid the poor, but because the poor refuse to recognize them. Scarcity blinds, abundance reveals. The illusion of scarcity also breeds envy. When people believe wealth is limited, they resent those who have it. They convince themselves that someone else's success took something away from them. But this belief is poison. It keeps people stuck in bitterness instead of creation. The wealthy reject envy because they know another person's success is proof of possibility, not a theft of opportunity. Abundance is about circulation. Money is energy, and like energy, it flows. When hoarded in fear, it stagnates. When used with wisdom, it multiplies. The wealthy understand this law deeply. They are not afraid to invest, not afraid to give, not afraid to expand. They know that money sent out with intention returns multiplied. Scarcity minds hoard in fear. Abundance minds circulate in faith. Scarcity says, I can't afford it. Abundance says, how can I afford it? Scarcity says, there are no opportunities. Abundance says, opportunities are everywhere if I choose to see them. Scarcity says, wealth is out of my reach. Abundance says, wealth is my birthright, and I will create it. The difference is not in resources, it is in mindset. Abundance requires trust. Trust that there is always more to be gained. Trust that effort is rewarded. Trust that creation leads to expansion. Scarcity lives in constant anxiety, but abundance lives in certainty. This certainty attracts more because life itself responds to expectation. Expect scarcity, and you will find it everywhere. Expect abundance. And suddenly doors open, ideas flow, and wealth multiplies. Abundance is not just about money. It is about the way you see the world. It is the mindset that sees possibility in every setback, opportunity in every obstacle, and growth in every challenge. When you live in abundance, you stop competing for survival and start creating for expansion. You stop fearing what you lack and start focusing on what you can build. You stop clinging to limitation and start living in possibility. Understand this. Scarcity is an illusion, but abundance is truth. Wealth does not vanish because someone else has it. There is no limit to the opportunities available except the limits placed within the mind. The world overflows with resources. ideas, connections, and potential. The only question is whether you will open your eyes to see it. The wealthy see abundance everywhere they look. They see it in the challenges others run from. They see it in the changes others resist. They see it in the very fears that paralyze those stuck in scarcity. And because they see abundance, they create abundance. That is why wealth flows endlessly to them. The only mindset you need to attract wealth rejects the illusion of scarcity forever. It embraces the truth of abundance. It lives in the certainty of possibility. It sees opportunity everywhere. Choose abundance, and the chains of limitation will fall away. Choose abundance, and wealth will not just appear. It will multiply beyond measure. The mindset of wealth rejects excuses. Excuses are the chains that keep people broke, trapped, and powerless. They sound convincing, they sound reasonable, but they are nothing more than polished lies the mind tells itself to avoid responsibility. Excuses are poison to progress, anchors to potential, enemies of wealth. They keep the dreamer dreaming and prevent the doer from doing. The wealthy understand this truth. Every excuse surrendered to is a step further from freedom. Excuses whisper, you don't have enough time. Excuses whisper, you don't have enough resources. Excuses whisper, you weren't given the right opportunities. But the wealthy silence these voices and replace them with action. They do not ask what they lack. They ask, what can I do with what I have right now? That single question separates those who rise from those who remain stuck. Scarcity minds master the art of excuse-making. They collect reasons, they polish justifications, they explain endlessly why success cannot belong to them. But none of these reasons change reality. None of these excuses build wealth. They create the illusion of safety, but in truth, they are a prison. Excuses comfort the weak while robbing them of power. Wealthy minds master the art of execution. They replace every excuse with a strategy, every obstacle with a solution, every doubt with decisive action. They know that progress is not made in talking about what can't be done. It is made by doing what must be done. Execution is the language of wealth, and action is its grammar. Excuses are rooted in fear. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of discomfort. Execution is rooted in courage, the courage to act despite fear, to move despite uncertainty, to commit despite difficulty. Excuses paralyze, execution liberates. Excuses keep people bound to the same cycle. Execution breaks the cycle and builds new realities. The wealthy do not indulge in the luxury of excuses because they know excuses are invisible thieves. Each one steals time, energy, focus, and potential. While others are explaining why they can't, the wealthy are proving why they can. While others are defending their inaction, the wealthy are multiplying their results. That is why wealth flows to them, not because life is easier for them, but because they refuse to allow excuses to rob them of action. Excuses always sound reasonable. The timing isn't right. I don't have enough money to start. I'll do it when I'm ready. These statements feel safe, but safety is the disguise of stagnation. The truth is this: the timing will never be perfect, the resources will never all be in place, and readiness is an illusion. The wealthy act anyway. They begin before they feel prepared, they create momentum in uncertainty, they build readiness through movement. Execution creates clarity, action builds confidence, progress fuels belief. Excuses block all of these. Excuses say, wait. Execution says now. Excuses say someday. Execution says today. Every great fortune, every lasting success, every empire began not when the perfect moment arrived, but when someone chose execution over excuse. Execution is power because it compounds. One small step leads to another, and over time, those steps create momentum so strong it becomes unstoppable. Excuses also compound, but in the opposite direction. One excuse becomes 10, one delay becomes years, one justification becomes a lifetime wasted. The choice between excuses and execution is the choice between scarcity and wealth. The wealthy understand that excuses make comfort for a moment, but they cost forever. Execution may be uncomfortable for a moment, but it pays forever. Excuses protect the ego in the short term, but execution builds a legacy in the long term. The wealthy trade comfort for growth, excuses for execution, fear for faith. Understand this truth. Wealth is not built on reasons, it is built on results. Excuses will never deposit money in your account, never open doors of opportunity, never build freedom. Only execution can do that. Only execution transforms ideas into income, visions into reality, dreams into destiny. The mindset you need to attract wealth must be ruthless with excuses. It must refuse to tolerate them, no matter how convincing they sound. Replace excuses with action. Replace hesitation with movement. Replace justification with execution. Do this and wealth will respond, because wealth belongs to those who act while others explain. Excuses are chains. Execution is freedom. Excuses drain your power. Execution multiplies it. Excuses keep you poor. Execution makes you wealthy. The wealthy know this, and that is why they act. That is why they rise. That is why wealth flows to them with certainty. The mindset of wealth is a mindset of discipline. Wealth is not built by chance, nor is it secured through bursts of temporary effort. It is carved out of consistent, intelligent, focused action, repeated day after day until results can no longer be denied. Discipline is the silent architect of fortune. Without it, talent is wasted, opportunities are squandered, and potential rots away. With it, even the smallest resources can grow into empires. Discipline is the bridge between desire and achievement. Everyone wants wealth. Everyone dreams of freedom. But only those willing to submit to discipline will ever hold it. Desire without discipline is a fantasy. Discipline without desire is wasted energy. But desire fused with discipline is unstoppable. It is the formula that transforms visions into reality. The scarcity mindset seeks shortcuts. It looks for quick wins, easy paths, and overnight success. It avoids the grind, rejects consistency, and runs from structure. This is why it remains empty-handed, because wealth does not respond to laziness. Wealth responds to commitment. The abundance mindset, on the other hand, embraces discipline as the price of freedom. It understands that true success is not a single event, but the compounded result of small, repeated actions performed with unwavering focus. Discipline means doing what must be done, even when it is inconvenient, even when it is uncomfortable, even when the mood is gone. Excuses collapse under discipline. Procrastination dies in its presence. Fear weakens against its strength. Discipline is the weapon of the wealthy because it guarantees progress where others quit. Wealthy minds know that energy without direction is wasted. Discipline gives direction. It channels effort, organizes chaos, and builds momentum. Every small action, taken with consistency, compounds into results so massive that they seem impossible to those who lack discipline. Wealth is rarely about a single breakthrough. It is about daily effort stacking on top of itself until success becomes unavoidable. Discipline is also the mastery of self. The greatest enemy to wealth is not the economy, not competition, not circumstances. It is the undisciplined self. The self that seeks comfort over growth. The self that chooses distraction over focus. The self that listens to doubt instead of belief. The wealthy master themselves first, because only those who rule their inner world can command their outer world. Scarcity minds live by emotion. If they feel motivated, they act. If they feel tired, they stop. If they feel fear, they retreat. Their lives are dictated by moods, and moods cannot build wealth. Wealthy minds live by discipline. They act regardless of mood, regardless of doubt, regardless of fear. They understand that feelings are temporary, but discipline creates permanence. Discipline also protects wealth. It is not only about building fortune, but about maintaining and growing it. Many who stumble into money lose it quickly, because without discipline, wealth leaks away as fast as it arrives. But those with disciplined minds multiply what they earn. They manage wisely, invest intelligently, and grow consistently. Discipline is both the seed of wealth and the shield that protects it. The world admires results, but forgets the discipline that built them. It admires the mansion, but forgets the years of consistent effort. It admires the freedom, but ignores the sacrifices. Discipline is invisible to the world, but visible in the results it creates. Those who lack it see success as luck. Those who practice it know success is discipline in disguise. Discipline is not punishment, it is liberation. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency. It frees you from the slavery of moods. It frees you from the regrets of wasted time. Discipline is the foundation of freedom because only disciplined action creates choices, opportunities, and wealth. Without it, freedom is only a dream. With it, freedom becomes inevitable. Understand this truth. Discipline is the great equalizer. It does not care about your background, your resources, or your past. It rewards those who practice it and punishes those who neglect it. Anyone can be disciplined. Anyone can choose consistency over laziness, focus over distraction, persistence over surrender. Discipline is available to all, but used by few. That is why wealth belongs only to those who embrace it fully. The wealthy mind does not wait for motivation. It does not wait for the perfect moment. It does not wait for things to get easier. It acts consistently, relentlessly, with discipline as its compass. And because of this, wealth is not a question of if. It is only a question of when. Discipline is the silent architect of wealth. It is the secret builder behind every empire, the invisible force behind every fortune. Embrace it, and wealth will eventually bow before you. Reject it, and wealth will forever remain out of reach. The mindset of wealth begins with vision. Before wealth can be held in the hand, it must first be seen in the mind. Nothing in this world exists without first existing as thought. Every skyscraper, every company, every invention, every fortune began as an idea. Vision is the blueprint of reality. Those who lack vision remain trapped in circumstances, while those who cultivate vision create new worlds. The poor mindset waits to see results before it believes. It says, "I'll believe it when it happens." But the wealthy mindset believes first and then creates the result. It says, "Because I see it within, I will build it without." This difference in thinking separates those who remain spectators from those who become creators. Vision is not wishful thinking. It is not daydreaming or fantasy. Vision is clarity of purpose, a picture of the future so vivid it begins to pull you toward it. The wealthy live from their vision, not their current conditions. They refuse to be defined by what is, because they are too focused on what will be. Where others see limitation, they see possibility. Where others see lack, they see potential. A clear vision creates power. It organizes the mind, sharpens decisions, and fuels persistence. Without vision, effort is scattered and inconsistent. With vision, every step, every action, every decision becomes aligned. Vision is the compass that directs energy toward wealth, ensuring no effort is wasted. Scarcity blinds itself with present struggles. It stares at bills, problems, and obstacles, convincing itself that no future beyond them is possible. But abundance lifts its eyes to the horizon. It sees past the temporary struggle and envisions the permanent success. This ability to hold a vision, even when reality contradicts it, is what makes the wealthy unstoppable. Vision also attracts. Just as wealth is drawn to confidence, it is magnetized by clarity. People are inspired by those who see the future clearly. Investors, partners, and opportunities are pulled toward visionaries because vision gives direction. Without vision, no one follows, no one invests, no one believes. With vision, the impossible becomes inevitable. The wealthy understand that what you consistently imagine and believe becomes the foundation of your reality. The mind is a workshop. If filled with fear, doubt, and limitation, it manufactures failure. If filled with vision, faith, and abundance, it manufactures wealth. The outer world bends to the inner picture. Vision is not only about seeing wealth for yourself, it is about seeing how your wealth impacts others. True visionaries see beyond personal gain. They envision businesses that solve problems, products that improve lives, ideas that elevate humanity. This kind of vision has power because it is bigger than the individual. It attracts support, multiplies influence, and creates wealth on a scale that selfishness never could. Vision demands commitment. It requires holding the picture in the mind even when the world disagrees, even when results are not yet visible, even when doubt creeps in. Most people abandon vision at the first sign of struggle. The wealthy refuse. They understand that vision is tested by adversity. Every obstacle asks the question, do you truly believe? Those who hold on to vision in the storm prove themselves worthy of the wealth on the other side. Vision also fuels discipline. When the picture of the future is strong enough, excuses disappear. Procrastination weakens. Comfort loses its grip. Vision gives meaning to sacrifice, reason to persist, and fire to act. Without vision, discipline feels like punishment. With vision, discipline feels like purpose. Understand this truth. Wealth is first created in imagination. The fortune you desire is not outside of you. It is already within you, waiting to be built. The mind paints the picture, and disciplined action turns that picture into reality. This is why vision is non-negotiable. Without it, wealth cannot be sustained. With it, wealth becomes inevitable. The wealthy are vision-driven. They wake each day seeing beyond their current reality. They carry a picture of freedom, expansion, and abundance so strong it fuels every action. They live as though the future they desire already belongs to them, and because of this, it eventually does. Vision is the seed of wealth. Vision is the birth of destiny. Vision is the unseen force that shapes what will be seen. Hold it, nurture it, and live by it. For the one who dares to see wealth before it exists is the one who inevitably creates it.